The dignitaries to the high table. Miriam, please guide. Please guide the dignitaries to the high table. The Commissioner, the Director General, and others. Ambassador, Commissioner, please come to the high table. Okay. Honorable Mbami, please, to the high table. Director General Hungbo, please, to the high table. Minister Kantema, Dr. Kantema, please. Okay.
This is the minister chart.
Bambi, okay, very good. Honorable Brandt. Okay, representative of NEPAD. The representative of NEPAD, please, to the high table. Okay. I think all the seats are taken. Yeah. Okay. Are all the dignitaries here, Miriam? Okay, with that, let us remain standing, ladies and gentlemen, for the Namibian and the AU anthem to kick off our meeting. Namibian and AU anthem, please. Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, thank you. My name is Ben Nangombe. I'm the Executive Director in the Ministry of Justice and Labor Relations for the Republic of Namibia. I will be together with Dr. Sabelo Mbokazi directing the program this morning. Our proceedings for the opening session this morning are being broadcast live on Namibia Broadcasting Corporation, NBC TV Channel 1, and the NBC Digital Trust platforms. Before we start our proceedings, let me recognize the presence of our dignitaries, starting with the Honorable Minister Philemon Wise Emmanuel, the Minister for Justice and Labor Relations in the Republic of Namibia. I recognize you, Honorable Minister, and other ministers in the room from Namibia and other countries. I recognize Her Excellency Ambassador Ama Tom Amoa, the Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and Social Development at the African Union Commission. Honorable Abdoulaye Mbodou Mbami, Minister of Public Service and Social Dialogue of the Republic of Chad and the outgoing chairperson of the Specialized Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor, and Employment. Mr. Gilbert Hongbo, the Director General of the International Labour Organization. Mr. Areski Mezoud, Secretary General of the Organization of African Trade Unions, Unity. Mr. Stephen Obiro, Head of Advocacy, Consultancy, and Partnerships for Business Africa. Commissioner Janet Salah-Nier, AU Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Women in Africa. Ms. Ukolo Jane Phiri, Speaker of the Children's Parliament in Namibia. Ms. Nyaranzai Gumbonzwanda, Deputy Executive Director at UN Women. Ms. Hopolang Pororo, the UN Resident Coordinator for Namibia. Observers, delegates, members of the media. We are gathered here for the 6th session of the Specialized Technical Committee of the AU on Social Development, Labor, and Employment, under the theme Investing, Strengthening, and Expanding Social Protection Systems in Africa as Critical Enablers for Inclusion, Resilience, and Social Justice. Our meeting started on the 27th of July and is ending tomorrow, the 31st. From the 27th to the 29th, The experts met at this venue to review the documents prepared for our meeting and to produce a report that will be tabled here this morning for the consideration and adoption by our ministers. The experts, honorable ministers, worked diligently and with dedication. They reviewed the documents as per their mandate, and they did a phenomenal job in doing so, sometimes going beyond the normal working hours. But it's all for good cause. So we are now here during this official opening session before we get into the closed session where consideration of the documents and the whole agenda is going to take place. So we are going to have, as part of our program here this morning, the welcoming remarks for the delegates and the dignitaries. And that welcoming remark is going to be delivered by Honorable Dr. Emma Kantema, the Minister of Gender Equality and Child Welfare of the Republic of Namibia. Please put your hands together and help me welcome her to the podium. Doctor.
Thank you very much, Executive Director Ben Nangombe, for the opportunity. Program Director, Your Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of our Republic of Namibia, in her absentia, Honorable, my dear brother, Wise Philemon Emmanuel, the Minister responsible for Justice and Labor Relations in Namibia, Her Excellency Ambassador Ama Tom Amoa, Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, African Commission, Director General for ILO, Mr. Gilbert Hongupu, Chair of the STC, the outgoing Chair of the STC, and the Social Development, Labor and Employment Bureau, Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers from various countries, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Program Director, allow me to adopt the protocol already so ably established by yourself and to say very good morning to our delegates. In Namibia, we greet each other, good morning. Thank you very much. Now I can see we are responsible for social protection. It's both an honor and a privilege to welcome you to Namibia, and particularly to the 6th session of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee for Social Development, Labor and Employment that is being hosted in Namibia, the land of the brave. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Namibia, I extend to each of you a warmest welcome. We are truly honored to host this important meeting, and we are especially privileged by the presence of our AU Commissioner, as I indicated already, our Director General for ILO, honorable ministers responsible for social protection on the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, in Namibia, we are led by our first female president, Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, whose unwavering commitment to social justice, inclusive development, and investment in people continue to inspire us as a nation. Her Excellency is a visionary leader in championing social protection as a cornerstone of national development. To all our distinguished guests, all the ministers, members of the STC, I trust that alongside your productive deliberations, you will enjoy our renowned Namibian hospitality. I'm sure you've already experienced as you arrived in Namibia. You will also enjoy our winter sunshine, which is not so cold, and the calm beauty of this remarkable land. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we gather under a theme, as it was already alluded to by the Director of Ceremony, which is profound significance to investing in strengthening and expanding social protection systems in Africa as a critical enablers for inclusion, resilience, and social justice. We are reminded that social protection is no longer an option. It is an essential pillar of resilience societies. It is an essential pillar towards sustainable economies and peaceful nations. This is not merely a policy conversation. It's a conversation about the future of our continent. It's about the Africa that we aspire to build. Today, as leaders, we are cognizant that Africa is one of the youngest continents in the world. As you all know, that nearly around 70% of our population are youthful people below the age of 30, and more of that, 60% are younger than 25. This youthful demographic is one of our greatest comparative advantage as a continent. It presents us, therefore, with an opportunity to harness the demographic dividend of this youthful population. And at the same time, distinguished guests, it challenges us to ensure that our programs, our policies, our legislations are youth-centric to serve the population of Africa. If we invest wisely, Africa's young people will become the engine of sustainable development, innovation, and inclusive economic growth. Excellencies, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, it's for this reason that Namibia continues to expand and strengthen our social safety net. Namibia's social protection measures include child grants, disability grants, foster care and kinship care grants, old age pension, conditional basic income grants, and funeral benefits for the pensioners. This is alongside free education that we offer as Namibia, as we believe in the transformative power of education. This gathering, therefore, comes at a defining moment for our continent. As leaders who are entrusted with the well-being of our people, we have both an opportunity and an obligation to shape social protection systems that are sustainable, adequately financed, and responsive to Africa's evolving realities. Let us therefore move beyond viewing social protection as one of those recurrent expenditures and instead recognize it as a strategic investment in human capital, social stability, economic resilience, and sustainable development. Together, we must strengthen our domestic resource mobilization and expand coverage to those working in the informal economy, and to ensure that no African is left behind. If Africa is to achieve the aspirations that we have in the Agenda 2063, the SDGs, social protection cannot remain at the margins of development. It must therefore occupy the very center of our national development agendas. Distinguished guests, your presence here honors the work we do in Namibia. Your work honors the people of Africa. Once again, welcome to Namibia, welcome to Windhoek. May your deliberations be productive, your partnerships strengthened, and your stay in Namibia both memorable and inspiring for you to return back. Make sure that you spend all the dollars in Namibia. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Yes, I think that encouragement is very critical. After all, we are talking about issues of improving the living conditions of the people, and by spending money here, you will be supporting the local economy. Now, one thing that needs to be pointed out is that this meeting is not only being held in a tripartite fashion where you have governments, unions representing workers, and the business sector, the employers. We are also witnessing broadening the tent, whereby we are hearing from our development cooperation partners, and we are hearing the voices of the youth. So that broadened tent is speaking to, as the Honorable Minister who welcomed us said, the fact that social protection and economic growth cannot be an option if we are to develop our continent and to protect our communities. So the next speaker is from the Organization of Africa Trade Unions Unity, my brother Areski Mazoud. Areski has an interesting history and engagement with Namibia. Those that are familiar with our political history are aware of the national liberation struggle led by SWAPO. And Areski actually at some point joined SWAPO. So he has that history for Namibia as a freedom fighter. So he is now representing the trade unions, and please welcome him with a thunderous round of applause.
Effectivement, je suis un militant de la SWAPO parce que quand j'étais étudiant, j'ai organisé beaucoup de manifestations
Organized several
du peuple namibien.
marches and led many people of Namibia. And I'm here in a free country, and this is a great honor for me, truly.
Should I repeat what I said before?
Yes.
Okay. It's okay now? Can I? Okay. Is it okay now?
When you finish speaking, your chair is here.
Okay, no problem. Can I start? Ben voilà, effectivement, j'ai
Well,
dit,
I was
je suis
saying that
un ancien militant de la SWAPO
I'm
et d'autres
an
causes
ex-militant of
libération
SWAPO
en
and
Afrique. J'étais
other
étudiant,
movements of liberation in Africa. I was a student.
beaucoup de
As a student, I did very much. I led very marches in order to liberate Namibia. And today, I have the honor and the privilege to be in this free land. And what comes to memory is what I was told once, that one day you'll come back. I was told that you'll come back and have tea in Windhoek. And that's what I did as I came back, to celebrate the freedom of the people of Namibia. I had a tea as soon as I arrived, and I would like I'd like to remind you that you know all the founders of the freedom of Namibia who have led the freedom fighting for the continent. And of course, the bedrock of our progress is laid on the workers and the laborers of our continent. We have indeed this tripartism, and we have the DG of the IOL. Reminding us that tripartism is a reality in Africa. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to speak from my heart.
Monsieur le Directeur Général du Bureau International du Travail, Madame,
Excellency, DG of IL and
camarades représentants de business,
Excellency,
honorables invités, chacun son rang,
Secretary to the
son nom,
Social Affairs,
délégués,
distinguished delegates and representatives of various organizations. I may not mention you all, however, I greet you all. And I have the great honor to stand here in this Namibian ground, a fighting ground, where we are about to reflect on various issues and also look at our collective consciousness. And we need to understand that social protection is indeed a pillar of social dignity. It is the promise that every woman, every worker will live within security. It is the key of our resilience and of our societies. Should we remind ourselves that social protection is also sometimes used to bring about conflict and terrorism, compromising the stability of our continent. For half a century, our organization, led by the AU, or rather strengthened by the AU Commission, is speaking for the workers, speaking on the behalf of workers. And today we are reiterating our commitment to work with governments, employers and partners in order to have universal systems that are sustainable and adapted to African situations. It's not just about saying it with words, but we need to establish mechanisms so that they may be solidified and strengthened in order to make sure that no African citizen may be left behind, and we should also have indeed the various mechanisms allowing social justice. And for these ambitions to become a reality, we must mobilize resources by identifying the most appropriate and innovative financing mechanisms, whether through national contributions, regional partnerships, international solidarity, or innovative financing. It is therefore imperative that social protection be supported by sustainable and equitable means. Moreover, it is essential to fully recognize the role of social partners citizens and to strengthen their capacities, particularly those of workers' organizations, which are true pillars and indispensable actors of socio-economic development and the promotion of social justice. Their active involvement and empowerment constitute not only a prerequisite for the success of public policies, but also a guarantee of stability and social cohesion. Dear brothers and sisters, distinguished delegates, investing in social protection is investing in Africa's future. It is giving our people the means to withstand crisis, to overcome inequalities, and to build a society founded on solidarity. It is making our continent a space where social justice is not just distant aspiration, but a lived reality. We need to move into action. Let Windhoek become the social symbol of Africa that chooses inclusion, resilience, and social justice. Before concluding, I would like to thank and express my deepest gratitude to the authorities of Namibia and for granting us their hospitality in order for us to have our work. I would like to mention that this welcome will remain within our heart as a symbol of the spirit of openness and cooperation of the continent. I call upon all our consciousness so that social justice may become the foundation of the new Africa, an Africa that rises to the aspiration of its people, democratic of its people, and fairer institutions. I cannot end without mentioning our support of our representative of a prestigious organization. This gives a great honor to the African continent. It is an organization facing great challenges. And our DG Gilbert needs to be applauded to say that we support him and to say that the continent is behind its children. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Zareski is speaking like a true revolutionary. Please give him another round of applause. Yes, I was speaking on behalf of the workers. And as I said, this is in true tripartite fashion. The social partners must come to the table if we are to advance the agenda of social protection and decent work. The creation of employment would require thriving enterprises. And for the enterprises to thrive, they would require robust and conducive investment climate. The next speaker is going to speak on behalf of the enterprises representing Business Africa. Please put your hands together and help me welcome to the podium Mr. Stephen Obiro, Head of Advocacy Consultancy and Partnerships. Mr. Obiro.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia, Dr. Netumbo Nandi, in absentia. Your Excellency, Ambassador Amoa, our Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development of African Union Commission. Your Excellency Gilbert Humbo, our Director General for the International Labour Organization. My brother Azeki, our Chairperson for the Bureau, the Honorable Minister for Abluai, the Minister for the Republic of Chad, Excellencies, the ministers present, dignitaries, allow me to write on the protocols that were established. Excellencies, let me start by commending the experts who have been here doing the donkey job, combing through the documents and ensuring that now this meeting can happen. Can we just also appreciate them? Thank you. I also want to commend the member states that included tripartite delegations and encourage others to follow their examples. I don't know if we have member states that included tripartite delegations. Can you just show by raising your flag on the table so that yes, let's appreciate those member states. Because when we talk of tripartism, they're actually the ones that are ensuring that we uphold that. Your Excellencies, this Specialized Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor and Employment is our only continental platform for high-level tripartite social dialogue. We know that it brings together key stakeholders in social development, labor and employment, so that we can be able to understand each other's interests, choices, and the reasons behind the positions that we take and be able to move together. This STC is meant to drive business, workers, and social protection by ensuring that we are united and even our laws are able to be coordinated and aligned together. And so we from the business sector, we value this STC because we know that the deliberations that happen in this STC are geared towards ensuring that we have a better business environment, as my brother indicated, because when we speak in one common voice, when we become united, then we can ensure that we deliver really progress for every African citizen and community. And that unity is very important. Sometimes, as we are going to discuss, I saw in the program issues of labor migration, and I've always wondered, why comes that when we negotiate sometimes our bilateral labor agreements, we end up undercutting each other? Africa is better when we are united, when we speak as one voice, and when we ensure that our people, they receive the dignity they deserve wherever they are. Excellencies, as we meet in this land, I've been told that this is the land of the brave. And I know we've been told, my brother Zek here is one of those freedom fighters. It reminded me that Africa's freedom that we have has been not given just to us, but is what we fought for, what our heroes fought for. And they gave us a vision, our Pan-African vision, that in this vision, they believed that Africa will rise again, that businesses, workers, citizens, and the states will be thriving at some point. And for us to meet this way, then it's an opportunity for us to be able to honor that Pan-African vision, and through the bold, practical actions that we are going and decisions that we make, that builds a better Africa for today and tomorrow. Excellencies, We agree that poverty and low literacy drive harmful practices and decisions in African households and communities. But we have the opportunity to grow our economies, to raise domestic revenues, and invest in better in development, including social protection systems, quality public services, poverty eradication initiatives, and community education. Too often, Your Excellencies, we focus on the challenges. And we talk about high informality and poverty. We talk about limited skills. We talk about weak social protection systems. We talk about fragmented initiatives. We talk about barriers that we have to integration, insecurities, and conflicts. We talk about weak implementation of strategies and the limited fiscal space for development, among others. Yet, each of these challenges, the way we look at it from the employers and from the business, is an opportunity for us as Africa. For example, when we talk about informality, it just shows us, this informality shows us that we have the need, the potential, and the opportunity for industrialization and modernization of our economies, that we have the opportunity for a stronger business environment that helps people to earn while expanding fiscal space for adequate social protection and development across Africa. Despite Africa's many challenges, we should take pride in our continent. We are not yet where we aspire to be, but we have made significant socioeconomic progress as Africa, and we need to be proud of ourselves. Africa is no longer defined by crisis. If you move across Africa, everywhere you go, you will see opportunity, you will see growth, you will see transformation. Even when you look at this city of Windhoek, that as you walk around. The challenge, what we see in Africa, as from the business, is that the pace of development remains slow, and it is below Africa's true capacity. And that's what we need to address. Excellencies, the Africa we want will not happen by accident. You remember the words of Malcolm, who said that the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Africa we want is a result from bold, transformative actions by member states and the regional economic communities to advance our vision as it's outlined in African Union Agenda 2063. And from our preparedness for climate change, artificial intelligence and technological shifts, geopolitical developments, and demographic change. Africa's success depends on the discipline and choices that we are going to make in this 6th STC on social development, labor, and employment. Africa is youthful, as our Honorable Minister told us. Actually, the median age for Africa is around 19 years. And the report from McKinsey Global Institute projects that half of the workers that will be entering the global labor market by 2030 will be coming from Africa. Now, the question is, how are we preparing Africa for this opportunity? Our work on migration, labor migration, skills development, decisions that we'll be making on inclusion, on social protection, and even on child protection is about both today and the future of Africa. We must be intentional, and I am confident that the discussions in this STC and the recommendations that will eventually be made and resolutions will help move Africa forward. And we'll be looking at to see how they strengthen the productivity and competitiveness of our businesses. How are we going to use the social systems to unlock Africa's full productive capacity? And we know that if you look at what is happening across Africa, our young people expect more from the continent, and so is businesses and the workers and even the governments. We all have high hopes for Africa. And I believe that together we can make Africa become the beacon of hope and admiration for many. And what we've always said, we may not even be needing new strategies, we may just need to be able to implement what we have committed for, to actualize our Agenda 2063 with the urgency it deserves, to ensure that it is actualized in our lifetime. Now, Excellencies, what we also need is social accountability. Businesses and investments, they need predictable, stable policy and regulatory frameworks where commitments are matched by actions. Africa often speaks with ambition, but too often delays in ratifying, domesticating, and implementing the AU and REX protocols and conventions that we have agreed on, or sometimes we even ratify, but we fail to align our national practices with agreed policies. And this one, for us in business, is something that throws us off the balance because we need predictable business environment. And as employers, we respectfully urge member states and honorable excellencies that we ensure this STC, this 60 STC on social development, labor, and employment breaks this pattern. We must establish mechanisms through which the public can hold us accountable for implementing continental and regional resolutions and agreements reached. I am happy that this STC is considering, having gone through the agenda and the documents submitted, we are considering even terms of reference for African Labor and Employment Council. We are looking at the AU private sector engagement strategy, guidelines on labor migration, and also looking at labor migration statistics and practical mechanisms on tracking, following up, and reporting on resolutions and recommendations from this STC. It is our hope that these measures shall ensure that nothing falls through the cracks. Chairperson, let me thank you and the Fifth Bureau, the experts and the secretariats for the excellent work that has been undertaken. I want to thank Her Excellency, the President of Namibia, the government, the people of Namibia for the welcome, warm welcome, and for hosting us. We appreciate the African Union and its organs, agencies, for the work that they have done to prepare for this 6th STC on social development, labor, and employment. We applaud each member state for the effort you are putting into this journey of transforming Africa. Business Africa and the employers across the continent are committed to working alongside the governments and the workers and the partners to transform Africa for the betterment of our people and for the socio-economic development of our member states. God bless you. God bless Africa. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Thank you very much, my brother, for that poignant message. Again, it's about tripartism. We appreciate the commitment of the business sector to contribute to the upliftment of our people. I indicated earlier that we have broadened the tent and the voices of the young people are also going to be heard. Our program or our meeting since we started has considered a number of policy documents and initiatives focused on children and the youth. For example, the meeting discussed the terms of reference for the special rapporteur on child labor, forced labor, human trafficking, and modern-day slavery, which disproportionately affect children and young people. we discussed a report, or a progress report on the African Union ILO Youth Employment Strategy, or Yes Africa. There was a report on the, or rather a briefing note on the AU champion, the African Union Champions report on child marriages. There was a report on harmful practices affecting children. There is an African common position on ending violence against children in Africa. Discuss the model law on child online safety. There's a briefing note on child protection and ending harmful practices. So all these matters were discussed because children and young people do matter. And that is why we have someone amongst us here to speak on behalf of the young people. She is the Speaker of Children's Parliament in Namibia. Please put your hands together and welcome to the podium Ms. Utkolo Jane Piri.
Good morning, everyone. I stand on the protocol already observed. Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, representatives of the African Union Commission, development partners, program director, young people, ladies and gentlemen. In the great words of our late President, President Nelson Mandela, he echoes that there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. It is both a privilege and a profound honor to join you today as the Speaker of the Children's Parliament of Namibia for the 6th session. Presenting the statement on behalf of the children of Namibia and Africa. In doing so, I not only echo my own voice, but the voices of countless children across Namibia and across our African continent, children who dream, who hope, and who simply ask for the opportunity to thrive. As we reflect on this year's theme, investing, strengthening, and expanding social protection systems in Africa, a critical enabler for inclusion, resilience, and social justice, I invite us to remember what social protection truly means through the eyes of a child. To a child, it means going to bed without fear. It means arriving at school with hope instead of hunger. It means knowing that when life becomes difficult, someone, somewhere will not look away. It means growing up protected, valued, and given a fair chance to succeed. In the Children's Parliament of Namibia, I have had the privilege of listening to children from different regions and different backgrounds. While our circumstances may differ, our aspirations are remarkably similar. We want to learn, we want to feel safe, and we want equal opportunities. But above all, we want to be heard, not after discussions have been made, but while those discussions are being made. Too often, children are spoken about, but not spoken to. Yet no one understands the realities facing children better than children themselves. Across Africa, millions of children continue to face poverty, violence, exploitation, harmful practices, displacement, and inequalities. These realities should never become acceptable simply because they are common. Behind every statistic is a child with a name, a dream, and unlimited potential. That is why investing in children is not an act of charity, it is an act of leadership. Every child who is educated strengthens our economies, and every child who is protected strengthens our communities, and every child whose voice is valued strengthens our democracy. Today, I respectfully ask for 3 commitments. Let us place every child at the center of our social protection systems, and let us strengthen our efforts to protect every child from violence, exploitation, and abuse, both offline and online. And let us move beyond symbolic participation by ensuring the children are recognized as genuine partners in shaping the decisions that affect their lives. Africa is the youngest continent in the world. This is not our challenge, it is our greatest opportunity. If we invest in today's children with courage and conviction, we will build the Africa envisioned in Agenda 2063, which says the Africa we want, and leave a legacy that generations will be proud of. Allow me to end with this thought. A child who feels protected becomes an adult who protects others tomorrow. A child who is given an opportunity becomes a leader who creates opportunities for others tomorrow. And a child whose voice is heard today becomes a citizen who strengthens democracy tomorrow. Let us remember this gathering not only for the policies we adopted, but for the children whose futures we chose to protect. With that, allow me to extend and express our sincere appreciation to the Republic of Namibia, the African Union Commission, and all partners who remains committed to advancing social development. It reminds us that Africa continues to place people, and especially young people, at the center of its development agenda. God bless our Africa. God bless the Republic of Namibia. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Very articulate, Jane, well done. That message is loud and clear. Give another round of applause to our young person. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to have amongst us a dedicated African, a leader who has promoted social justice and social protection as an African leader. The Director General of the International Labour Organization, His Excellency Gilbert Hungbo, is amongst us, demonstrating the strong partnership between the African Union and the International Labour Organization and under his leadership. We are indeed honored to have you in our midst, sir, and it is my honor to invite you to the podium and to address the gathering. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome His Excellency Gilbert Hungbo, the Director General.
Good morning. Yeah, we're still in the morning. Honored Minister Emmanuel, and all protocol observed, so that will save 2 minutes. Let me start by thanking both the government of Namibia and the African Union for not only convening this STC, but also for inviting ILO to join, and we really appreciate this opportunity. Particularly, we know that in the last 6 decades, the African Union and the ILO have partnered to advance decent work, social justice, and inclusive development. We have doing everything we can to support the labor institutions the social protections and the AU Agenda 2063. We also do know that our continent faces significant demographic, economic, technological, and climate-related challenges. At the same time, opportunities such as the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, the digitalization, the green transition, all those opportunities as well can drive transformation. By 2050, 1 in 4 workers globally will be an African. Realizing this potential requires investment in people, investment in institutions, and investment in productive employment. Social protection is a cornerstone of this agenda. It is not merely a cost, but it is an investment that strengthens resilience, an investment for better productivity, an investment for social cohesion in our continent, an investment in sustainable growth, the care economy, and the domestic workers. The ILO remains committed to expanding inclusive social protection, particularly for women and girls, and also those in the informal and vulnerable employment. As well, those groups I just mentioned, namely the domestic workers, the care economy, where we know the vast majority of jobs are occupied by women. Recent crises show that countries with stronger social protection systems protected livelihood and jobs more effectively, highlighting their importance for resilience and development. And I know we have many success stories in some of you that are sitting here today, and I want to really appreciate the progress that we are seeing in all our countries in making social protection a cornerstone of the public policies. Honorable ministers, dear social partners, the question is no longer whether Africa can invest in social protection. We're talking about mobilizing domestic resources. We're talking about increasing partnership and so forth. The question is no more if we can do that. The question is rather if we can afford not to. Governments are demonstrating growing commitment, and the priority now is implementation. Implementation through a broader coverage, sustainable financing, and stronger institutions. The AU Agenda 2063, the Africa Regional Social Protection Strategy, and the Protocol on Social Protection provide a clear framework. Our task is to deliver on tangible results for our population, for our youth, and our children. The ILO will continue supporting member states to strengthen labor institutions, expand social protection, and promote skills and employment. Despite the current challenges that we are faced, the multilateral system at large is facing, we remain committed that in the coming years, we have to increase our support to our member states on the ground, in the field, in making available much more expertise, namely in the social protection. We will also continue advocating for Africa's priorities globally, recognizing that investment in people is key to the SDGs. Social protection must go hand in hand with job creation and skills development, productivity, and social dialogue. In a context of global uncertainty and limited financing, Africa's response must be guided by solidarity, innovation, and continued political commitment. Success must be measured not only by economic growth, but by decent jobs, reduced inequality, and expanded opportunities for all. At the ILO, we remain a partner that you can count on, not only as African Union through our ongoing partnership, but also our partnership with the member states. Together, let us build an Africa where social justice drives the economic transformation. I thank you.
Thank you for that statement, sir, underscoring the importance of investing in people, investing in institutions, investing in productive activities. And the question that you pose, say, is very important. That is not whether we can invest in social protection, but whether we can afford not to. And I think the answer to that is known to all of us. It's a resounding no. We cannot afford not to invest in social protection. And again, economic growth can not only, or rather prosperity can not only be measured in economic growth alone, but also in decent jobs and social protection. Another round of applause for the DG, please. As I indicated earlier, I'm directing this program with my brother Sabelo from the AU Commission. And at this juncture, I wish to yield the podium to him to come and take over from where I left off. Please welcome Sabelo to the podium.
Thank you, Director of Justice and Labor, the Republic of Namibia, Your Excellencies. The protocol has already been established, and therefore I will stand on the established protocol. My name is Sabelo, as the Executive Director, Ben Nangombe, has indicated. I'm your head of labor, employment and migration at the African Union Commission, Addis Ababa. It is a pleasure to be here and a privilege to be here in the land of the brave. But we see that all Africans have descended to come to the land of the brave. I see the royal kingdom of Morocco is here. All the kingdoms are here. I see the mountain kingdom of Lesotho is here. I see the kingdom of Eswatini is here, visibly present. You cannot miss them. But we also see the people from the smiling coast of Africa, the Gambia. We see people from the Pearl of Africa, Uganda. We see people from the South Africa, the Rainbow Nation. But the Rainbow Nation is sitting next to the people from the home heart of Africa. This is Malawi. We see people from Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, the elephants. But Chipolopolo is here as well, Zambia. So we thank you for convening. We thank you for convening to this place under the theme that has been mentioned: investing, strengthening, and expanding social protection systems in Africa. Your Excellencies, honorable ministers, you see the color scheme here is blue. It reminds us the African Union theme of the year, which focuses on water and sanitation. And water and social protection, you cannot separate it. It's a basic requirement, and therefore we should be reminded by the color scheme that this is a year of water and sanitation at the African Union Commission. The African Union is a system. It has organs, it has specialized technical offices, and one of the organs is the organ that you know, Outer NEPAD. And Outer NEPAD is here represented. The CEO is represented by our dear brother, the director, Simere Gray Johnson, who will then represent the CEO of the NEPAD. Now allow me to invite our brother director, Simere, to come and make a presentation.
Thank you very much, Program Director. My dear brother, Sabelo, it's always good to be with you. Honorable Philemon Wise Emmanuel, Minister of Justice and Labor Relations of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Abdoulaye Modu Mabi, Minister of Public Service and Social Dialogue, Republic of Chad, and Chairperson of the STC, Honorable Ministers from the African Union member states present, Your Excellency, Ambassador Amatum Amoa, my Commissioner for Health, and my dear sister, Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs, Social Development, of the African Union Commission, the representatives of the government of the Republic of Namibia, honorable ministers present, the Director General of ILO, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. I bring you warm greetings from Her Excellency, Madam Nados Bekele Thomas, who couldn't be here with you, but is certainly here in spirit. It is indeed a great pleasure and an honor to address this ministerial session of the 6th Ordinary Session of the Special Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor, and Employment. And on behalf of the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, we want to thank the government and people of Namibia for hosting this very important gathering. Hearty gratitude to the African Union Commission, the Department of Health, Humanitarian Affairs, and Social Development, on her able leadership, the Commissioner, for the technical and the high-level preparations of this 6th Ordinary Session of the STC. Special thanks to all the African Union member states, the social partners, the regional economic communities, and all the technical institutions here present. All of this reflects the work of many experts and the practitioners who understand the daily realities of African families and its workers. The theme before us is direct. It says investment, strengthening and expanding social protection systems in Africa, a critical enabler for inclusion, resilience, social justice. It asks us to move beyond viewing social protection as a residual welfare function. But across our continent, millions of African families continue to face illnesses, unemployment, climate shocks, and economic uncertainty without the security that many take for granted globally. And behind every statistic is a family making impossible choices. So social protection is not only a right, but also a productive investment in human capital, labor participation, social cohesion, and economic stability. Therefore, these sessions that we are going to have from Monday onwards takes place in a difficult context. You will recall the Doha political declaration adopted at the Second World Summit for Social Development and the G20 Social Summit held in South Africa renewed the international commitment to eradicate poverty, promote decent work, advance equality, and build inclusive societies. Yet, the financing environment has increasingly been tightened. Official development assistance have fell sharply in 2025 and is projected to decline again this year and in the next 5 years. Bilateral assistance to sub-Saharan Africa is expected to face some more challenges and steep reductions. These are warning signs, serious warning signs, and they cannot be ignored. In this regard, our social systems cannot depend on uncertain external flows. International solidarity remains essential, but African ownership, African leadership, especially domestic financing and strengthening our institutions and capacities becomes much more paramount. Excellencies, allow me to state that the African Union Development Agency continues to contribute in this regard through its Strengthening National Institutions Supporting Vulnerable Communities SNVC program. Through the SNVC program, the African Union Development Agency produced a report, Enhancing Social Protection Systems in Africa. Gaps, implementations, challenges, and policy options, and we have distributed this report. And in this report, you'll see that we've identified persistent informalities, fragmented programs, weak institutions, low coverage, and limited use of integrated data. The report recommends strong national institutions, better coordination, and responsible use of technology and sustainable partnerships. The African Union Assembly has also given the work that we are doing a clear continental mandate. Through Decision 973, the African Union Development Agency has been requested to work with the Commission, regional economic communities, to develop a comprehensive Africa Social Protection Framework, CASP. The CASP is intended to serve as an implementation-oriented continental reference framework. It is not aimed at replacing continental or regional instruments, but rather consolidate them and ensure efficiencies in implementation of social protection interventions. These efforts are reinforced by other African Union development programs. For example, the Creating Opportunities for Youth and Women in Africa program, funded by the Spanish government. This program links entrepreneurship, financial inclusion, training, and market through regional economic communities. Another big program that we implement, the Skills Initiative for Africa and the Africa Critical Skills Bank, supported through alliances with the German government. So we are doing a lot in this space. Honorable Ministers, the decisions that we will take here in Windhoek must give our member states a practical direction. And I want to quickly highlight 4 steps that we must reflect on. First, we must treat social protection as a national investment priority by including social protection floors and life cycle guarantees in national development plans. Second, we must build integrated delivery systems, and I think we've heard this earlier this morning, by connecting social protection with health, education, employment services, labor programs, and so on. Third, we must extend protection to people who remain outside the formal systems. But fourth and most importantly, and I'll digress a little bit, we must finance systems of social protection using our domestic financing. Your development agency will be 25 years old this October. 15 years ago, we alerted the world that Africa was going through a food crisis. We created a Comprehensive Africa Development Program, CADAP. Some 12 years ago, we alerted that our infrastructure was falling apart. So we created a program called PIDA, the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa. Today, in this room, excellencies, leaders, heads of delegations, fellow colleagues, we are alerting today that we are going into a debt crisis. 14 years ago, Africa was paying on interest some 27 billion. Today, it's 154 billion just on interest. We have done some preliminary work. We have identified 6 countries in Africa that will most probably, on paper, in theory, be bankrupt if we continue servicing our debt. So debt swaps becomes more important than ever before. You would see that in 14 years, our servicing of debt has multiplied by a factor of 6. So in order for us to really implement the theme that we are discussing today, we want to squarely put on the agenda the issue of debt swaps for social protection. And we call upon you, our leaders, the commissioner, the ministers here present, that we put on the agenda the issue of debt swaps for social protection. Right after COVID, your development agency talked about the issue of SDR, special drawing rights. We were not successful, but we are very convinced that within the context of reparative justice and compensatory reparations, debt swaps must be on the agenda. And we really call upon you to work with us based on the work we're doing on debt swaps for health, debt swaps for education, and now we want to introduce debt swaps for social protection. This is the only way we can really fund our social protection systems in Africa. In conclusion, allow me to thank everybody, especially the technical team on behalf of our Chief Executive Officer. Of course, we continue to collaborate with the Commission under the leadership of Commissioner Amoa herself and the regional economic communities, member states, the workers, employers. We have a strategic alliance with ILO implementing a new program with them in 2026, and DG, we look forward to working closely with your team on that. And we are here ready. As I said, we will be 25 years old as a development agency. We have put social protection on the agenda, and we'll work very closely with all of you to make sure we implement the CASP. So on behalf of our Chief Executive Officer, I want to say thank you so much for giving us this privilege to make this statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nepat, for the insightful presentation. As a progressive continent, as Namibia is a progressive country, we've been requested to announce that if there is anyone who needs sign language, it's provided for right there at the back. This is the Africa we want. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite Her Excellency Ambassador Ama Tum Amoa, the Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development at the African Union. Your Excellency, you have the floor. Let's put our hands together. Until she arrives.
Thank you very much, Sabelo. Honorable Ministers, before I even start delivering my statement, what I can say from everything that I've heard this morning is the fact that there seems to be consensus on what Africa needs and on what Africa has to do. So my statement is only going to confirm everything that has been said so far. I start by acknowledging the presence in absentia of Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia. Honorable Philemon Wise Emmanuel, Minister of Justice and Labor Relations of the Republic of Namibia, honorable ministers here present, distinguished delegates and representatives of AU member states, heads of regional economic communities, colleagues from the AU family, colleagues from the UN family, the World Bank, and other development partners and institutions. Representatives from our social partners, including workers, employers, and trade union organizations, civil society leaders and advocates, our young voices here in the room, ladies and gentlemen. It's still good morning. And warm greetings to all of you. It is a great honor indeed to welcome you to the 6th ordinary session of the Specialized Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor and Employment. At the outset, allow me to express our profound appreciation to the government and people of the Republic of Namibia for the generous hospitality extended to all of us and for hosting this important continental gathering. To the Honorable Minister of Justice and Labor Relations and your team, we convey our sincere gratitude for the meticulous preparations and excellent arrangements that have brought us together here in Windhoek. Honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, this STC should not be viewed simply as another routine meeting of experts and ministers. It is a defining moment in our collective pursuit of the Africa we want. We are gathered at the point where social development, labor, and employment coverage, there's convergence and is deliberate because the challenges facing our people are interconnected and cannot be addressed through isolated policies or fragmented institutions. Agenda 2063 calls for an Africa whose development is people-driven, drawing upon the full potential of its women, young people, and caring for its children, older persons, workers, and most vulnerable of our populations. That vision cannot be realized unless social protection, decent employment, and inclusive social development advance together. When we speak of social protection, we speak of the architecture that shields families from poverty, enables children to remain in schools, support workers during periods of transition, and allows older persons to live with security and with dignity. When we speak of labor and employment, we speak of the engine of economic transformation, productivity, inclusion, and shared prosperity. And when we speak of social development, we speak of the very fabric of our societies, our families, our communities, our solidarity, and our shared humanity. The theme of this session, investing in strengthening and expanding social protection systems in Africa, critical enablers for inclusion, resilience, and social justice, could not be more timely. Africa is undergoing profound demographic, economic, and technological transformation. We are home to the world's youngest population as we head. And by 2050, 1 in every 4 people on the planet will be African. This represents an extraordinary opportunity, but it is also an urgent responsibility. The choices we make today and in this room will determine whether Africa's demographic potential becomes a dividend of productivity, innovation, and shared prosperity, or whether millions of our people remain excluded from opportunity and protection. Strong social protection systems will be central to that choice. They must not be regarded merely as responses to vulnerability or instruments of welfare. They are investments in human capital. They strengthen resilience. They reduce inequality. They support productivity. They promote social cohesion. and they provide the foundation upon which inclusive and sustainable economies are built. Honorable Ministers, at the heart of our theme lies a deeper imperative, the principle of leaving no one behind. This must never become a slogan that we repeat without consequence. It must remain the moral compass of our policies and the practical measure of our success. We must see the child whose birth has never been registered and who, as a result, remains invisible to public systems. We must see the person with a disability who encounters barriers to education, employment, and essential services. We must see the informal worker who labors every day without health insurance, a pension, or income protection. We must see the family displaced by conflict or climate-related shocks. We must see the rural community without access to social services. And we must see the young person entering the labor market without skills, opportunity, or support. Social justice demands that our systems reach them all. No child should be invisible. No worker should be unprotected. No person with a disability should be excluded. And no community, definitely, should be abandoned in moments of crisis. This session takes place at a pivotal moment for our continent. Africa is navigating overlapping and mutually reinforcing challenges: persistent poverty and inequality, conflict and displacement, climate-related shocks, rapid urbanization, unemployment, and the accelerating digital transformation of work and social relations. Yet, within these challenges lie opportunities. We have an opportunity to redesign systems that are more inclusive, to expand protection to workers in the informal economy, to harness digital technologies while safeguarding rights and dignity, to invest in children and young people, to strengthen support for families and communities, and to build institutions that are prepared not only to respond to crisis, but also to anticipate and withstand them. The decisions taken here on financing, governance, institutional coordination, partnerships, implementation, and accountability will determine whether Africa's social protection systems are equal to this moment. I'm encouraged by the agenda before us. The Ministerial panel provides an opportunity for candid reflection and bold political leadership. The focus on youth and social protection reminds us that protecting young people is not an expense, but an investment in Africa's future. And the consideration of the experts' report ensures that our decisions are grounded in evidence, technical rigor, and the realities of member states. I wish to particularly acknowledge the child parliamentarian whose presence amongst us carries a powerful message. Children are not merely beneficiaries of policies we adopt. They are the right holders. They are citizens of today, and they must be heard in the decisions that shape their lives and futures. Honorable Ministers, distinguished delegates, as we forge ahead, I invite all of you to engage with candor, to listen with humility, and to deliberate with the ambition that this moment demands. Let us move beyond diagnosing challenges that are already well known. Let us identify practical solutions. Let us address the persistent gaps between continental commitments and national implementation. Let us determine how social protection systems will be sustainably financed. Let us strengthen accountability for the decision we take. And let us ensure that the policies we adopt here are translated into programs that reach people in their homes, workplaces, schools, and communities. The African Union Commission remains fully committed to supporting member states in translating the outcomes of this section into actions. But our collective success will depend on political will, domestic investment, institutional capacity, and sustained cooperation among governments, workers, employers, civil society, young people, as well as our development partners. No institution can deliver this agenda alone. But together we can build systems that protect people throughout their life course and enable every African to contribute and benefit from the continent's development. Let this session be remembered not simply for the documents considered or the decisions adopted. Let it be remembered as the moment we chose courage over comfort, investment over inertia, implementation over intention, and inclusion over indifference. Let it be remembered as the moment we resolved to build an Africa in which no child is invisible, no worker is unprotected, and no community is left behind. Because the Africa we want will not emerge by chance. It will be shaped by the choices we make, the systems we build, and the promises we honor. The Africa we want begins with the Africa we build together. The time to build it is now. May God continue to bless each one of us gathered here today, even as He blesses our beloved continent, Africa, with unity, prosperity, and peace. I thank you all for your attention.
So in the past few years in Addis, we had an ambassador of Ghana. In the past few years, we had an ambassador of Ghana. In no time, when we had the previous elections for the African Union election, the ambassador of Ghana emerged as a commissioner. Give her a round of applause. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your message and your dedication and the dexterity in which you conduct the business. Honorable members, this august house, this meeting, the STC on social development, labor, and employment has a statutory structure called the STC Bureau. So the STC Bureau would have a chair. So in the past few years, the chairperson of the STC was Chad, and Chad is here. And thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for being here. And the minister will then address us as the chair of the STC, but also an outgoing chair of the STC. Then later on, we will be given information on how then we proceed. Son Excellence, vous avez la parole. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Sabelo. Before giving my report of 2 years as a chair of the STC, I would like to thank dearly to the government of Namibia. Thank you to Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo and the people of Namibia for welcoming us. This has been 2 days we're here, and we have been welcomed so warmly. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your Excellency, Honorable Philemon Wise Emmanuel, Minister of Justice and Labor Relations of the Republic of Namibia, Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. Emma Kantema, Minister of Gender Equality and Child Welfare of the Republic of Namibia, honorable ministers and members of government from across the African Union, member states and head of delegation, Your Excellency, Mrs. Nados Bekele Thomas, Chief Executive Officer of the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, Your Excellency, Ambassador Ama Tum Amoa, Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development of the African Union Commission, Honorable Mr. Gilbert Humbo, Director General of the International Labour Organization, distinguished representatives of the African Organization of Trade Union Unity, honorable members of Parliament and representatives of the Child Parliament, excellencies, ambassadors and members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of regional economic communities, international organizations and development partners, representatives of civil society organizations, members of the media, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is both an honor and a privilege to present this report on the implementation of the decisions and priorities adopted at the 5th Ordinary Session of the Specialized Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor and Employment. Since our last meeting in 2024, the African Union has continued to demonstrate strong continental leadership in advancing Africa's social development, labor and employment agenda. Guided by the Agenda 2063 and our collective commitment to inclusive growth, social justice, and human dignity, the African Union, working closely with member states, regional economic communities, social and development partners, has made notable progress in strengthening policy frameworks, promoting regional cooperation, and supporting member states in addressing some of the continent's most pressing social and labor challenges. These achievements have been realized within an evolving global and continental context marked by emerging socio-economic, demographic, and development pressures. Nevertheless, the African Union has continued to strengthen policy leadership, coordination, and implementation support, reaffirming its commitment to a people-centered development approach that advances inclusion and ensures that no one is left behind. Excellencies, one of the most significant areas of progress has been the advancement of labor migration governance. Through the Joint Labor Migration Program, implemented with the International Labour Organization, International Organization of Migration, and GIZ, the African Union supported member states and regional economic communities in advancing harmonized frameworks for safe, orderly, regular, and right-based labor migration. Key continental instruments, including the Fair and Ethical Recruitment Strategy, Migrant Welfare Program Framework, and related guidance on regular migration pathways and access to justice have strengthened migrant worker protection, promoted decent work, and enhanced evidence-based labor migration governance. The African Union has also advanced social protection as a foundation for inclusion, resilience, and social justice. Through strengthened continental coordination, including the establishment of the Technical Working Group on Social Protection and efforts to extend coverage to informal economy and rural workers. Progress in promoting the social and solidarity economy through the adoption of the 10-year strategy and establishment of the African Cooperative Center has further positioned inclusive economic models as drivers of employment and social inclusion. Recognizing the importance of the Africa's demographic dividend, the African Union has continued to advance youth employment through the implementation of the Youth Employment Strategy for Africa. The Africa Youth Employment Action Lab, supporting member states to expand skills development, entrepreneurship, and employment opportunities for young people. Excellencies, significant progress was equally recorded in advancing Africa's social development agenda. The African Union strengthened efforts to prevent and address harmful practices affecting children, including child marriage and female genital mutilation. Through the operationalization and the EU Accountability Framework on ending harmful practices and the development of the EU model law on online child safety, investing continental action to safeguard children's rights and well-being, the institutionalization of the EU Child Participation Platform, and the launch of the first African Union Champions Report on ending child marriage have further reinforced political commitment, accountability, and children's meaningful participation in policy processes. The African Union has also continued to advance disability inclusion, health, aging, family development, and right-based social policies. The entry into force of the Protocol on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in Africa, alongside progress toward the ratification of the Protocol on the Rights of Other Persons, reflects growing commitment to safeguarding the rights and dignity of vulnerable populations. The Bridge Africa project, supported by GIZ, has further strengthened institutional capacity and partnership for disability inclusion across the continent. However, significant challenges remain. The slow ratification and domestication of African Union legal instruments continue to hinder progress towards shared continental aspirations, notably the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, on the rights of citizens to social protection and social security, adopted in 2022, is yet to enter into force. Limiting the establishment of a binding continental framework to advance universal and rights-based social protection. Furthermore, harmful practices and other forms of violence against children continue to undermine the rights, well-being, and future prospect of millions of African children. Excellencies, honorable ministers, the progress achieved since the 5th ordinary session reflects the collective commitment of the African Union and its member states to building inclusive, resilient, and prosperous societies. Our success, however, will ultimately be measured by our ability to translate continental commitments into meaningful improvements in the lives of our citizens. As I conclude my tenure as chairperson of this specialized technical committee, I extend my sincere appreciation to member states, the African Union Commission, the regional economic communities, social partners, civil society, and development partners for their invaluable contributions and continued support in advancing Africa's social development, labor, and employment agenda. As I hand over the chairmanship, I do so with confidence that our shared commitment will continue to advance a future anchored in inclusion, dignity, decent work, social justice, and shared prosperity. I thank you for your kind attention.
Let's give the outgoing chair another round of applause. Merci beaucoup, Excellence. So I speak a bit of French. Yes, that was the report of the outgoing chair of the Bureau. We thank you, sir, for your statement. We are moving towards the main event, mainly the keynote address and therefore the official opening of our gathering here. The keynote address is going to be delivered on behalf of Her Excellency President Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah by our Honorable Minister of Justice and Labor Relations. Current Minister, hang on just 1 minute. So the Minister will do 3 things now, or perhaps I can do one of them. Because the Minister was to deliver remarks, brief remarks, and introduce the keynote speaker. Now the Minister is the keynote speaker. So he will still have 2 things. That is his remarks and the keynote speech. But he cannot introduce himself to you. So I'll just say a few.
Minister of Education, and or responsible for education, sport, culture, and all other collateral affairs. Honorable Dr. Sanet Steenkamp. We are also co-hosting this event, with the Minister of Health, Honorable Luvindao, who is not here but is represented by the Deputy Minister, Susanna Njaleka. We are the 4 ministers that are hosting this event. Clearly providing clarity that this meeting is being attended by ministers responsible for labor, employment creation, and social development. Under social development are issues of education, issues of health, and issues of gender. Now, Program Director, I want also at the very onset to register a disclaimer. And my disclaimer is that while I sponsor a self-reflection on the importance of this meeting and the criticality of the deliberations that will be taking place and the outcome that will ensure at the end of the proceeding. I think I want to leave the protocol to the speech of the president so that I think it carries a bit of weight when the president is the one that is, acknowledging the presence of the distinguished personalities that are attending the meeting. With my personal reflections, I want to underscore the following. The challenges that are facing our continent, or the mother continent, Africa, are common cause to all of us. The challenges that are spanning from structural inequality, challenges that are speaking to exclusive economic orders, challenges that are speaking to, speaking to gender inequality, challenges speaking to poverty, challenges speaking to poor health, challenges speaking to poor education, challenges speaking to, social injustice, among other things. Those challenges, when I have regard to them, and I look at the personalities that are in this room, I don't only see representative of member state, but I see, extraordinary personalities. I see collective wisdom. I see, willing hearts and prepared mind. And I see exponentiality that the task requires. Therefore, I want to plead by noting the following: that economic inclusion, gender equality, social or progressive social protection, as well as the resilient labor market that we all aspire for, and that the mother continent aspire for. It's possible. Looking at the physical energy, the expertise, as well as, the intellectual power that is radiating from this room this morning, I am convinced it's possible. Our collective responsibility, therefore, distinguished delegates, is one of ensuring that we realize that we are not only leaders that are called upon to vision an African future that is prosperous, integrated, and peaceful, but we are the agent entrusted with the responsibility of creating that continent. We have a responsibility of making sure that we create a decent job, we expand opportunity for young people, we strengthen social protection, and we build a labor market where nobody is left out. Our success and our generational success, if it pleases the audience, is not merely going to be measured by the number of declarations that we have made, but it's going to be measured by the tangible improvement that those declaration brings in the lives of our citizens. It's therefore my hope and trust that we leave this gathering with renewed purpose and a united conviction that the Africa we dream of is possible. That our people, our citizens must have access to universal health coverage. Our, citizens must have access to decent job. That our citizens must have access to quality education. Our elders must receive access to full enjoyment of life. And again, as I have said, looking at you and what you come with, and the intellectual vibrancy that you command, I have no doubt on the possibility of that Africa. Now, let me return to the keynote address of Her Excellency the President, which I'm going to deliver as is. And as I have indicated, that I left out the protocol salutation so that I leave them, to the most impactful, or to the keynote address, so that anyone that is acknowledged here by the President would actually leave with a feeling that indeed the President knew that I was in attendance. But again, if it so happened that you had an expectation for the President to single you out, and I then that is delivering the address inadvertently leaves your name out, please don't apportion the blame to the President. So please apportion it to me, but also be comforted, but it's unintentional. Having said that, Program Director, so Her Excellency Ambassador Ama Chum Amo, Commissioner responsible for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Abudolai Mbami, Minister of Public Service and Social Dialogue of the Republic of Chad and the outgoing chairperson of the Specialized Technical Committee, Mr. Gilbert Hongdo, Director General of the International Labour Organization, Honorable Emma Kantema, Minister of Gender, Equality and Child Welfare of the Republic of Namibia, Honorable Teresia Brands, Deputy Minister of Justice and Labor Relations, Honorable Susanna Njaleka, Deputy Minister of Health and Social Services, Mr. Areski Zemhout, Secretary General of the Organizations of African Trade Union Unity, Mr. Stephen Obiro, Head Advocacy, Consultancy, and Partnership Business Africa, Commissioner Janet Salanyi, African Union Special Rapporteur on Rights of Women in Africa, Ms. Jane Phiri, Speaker of Children's Parliament of Namibia, Ms. Hoplong Ponon, UN Resident Coordinator for Namibia. Parole, yes. Distinguished delegates, honorable ministers, in your various capacity, I have the honor to convey the warm fraternal greeting of Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, President of the Republic of Namibia, and through Her Excellency the President, the warm greeting and best wishes of the people of the Republic of Namibia to all of you. It is a singular honor to welcome you, for the second time. For you, we were welcomed by the Honorable Minister of Gender, but this is now Her Excellency welcoming you to Windhoek, the capital city of the Republic of Namibia, and to the Republic of Namibia in general, for the 60th ordinary sessions of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor and Employment. Namibia is privileged to host this important ministerial gathering convened under the auspices of the African Union, reaffirming our shared commitment to multilateral cooperation in African solidarity in advancing our continental developmental aspiration. This session is guided by our collective vision, is articulated under Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. Our work is equally anchored in the United Nations Declarations on the Rights to Development, which affirm that development is an inalienable human right and call for equitable participation in contribution to and the enjoyment of the development by all persons. This commitment are reinforced by 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, particularly NDP 1, NDP 3, NDP 5, NDP 8, NDP 10, 13, and 16 respectively, which collectively advance poverty eradication, good health and well-being, gender equality, decent work, reduced inequality, climate resilience, peace, and inclusive society. The theme of this session, investing, strengthening, expanding social protection system in Africa, a critical enabler for inclusion, resilience, and social justice, could not be more timely. Social protection is not merely a safety net. It is a strategic investment in human capital, inclusive economic growth, resilience and social justice. Strong social protection system safeguard dignity, strengthen social cohesion, promote productive employment, and enable society to withstand economic, climatic, and humanitarian shocks. African youth population, as you may have heard earlier, present an unparalleled opportunity to accelerate social development and economic transformation. And this population is therefore our dividend of the day. Realizing this demographic dividend, however, requires that we invest in our people through quality education, continuous skill development and reskilling, productive employment, and comprehensive social protection throughout a life course. At the same time, we must address persistent challenges, including informality of our economy, unemployment, inequality, poverty, climate change, labor migrations, and rapid pace of technological change. The extensive work undertaken by the expert over the past 3 days provide a solid evidence-based foundation for your deliberation as ministers. Their recommendations underscore the need to expand social protection coverage, strengthen labor market governance, eliminate violence and harmful practices affecting women and children, promote disability inclusion, and improve migrations governance while developing adaptive, digitally enabled, and climate-responsive social protection system that leaves nobody behind. For Namibia, these priorities are firmly rooted in Article 95 of our Constitution, which places the welfare of our people at the center of public policy. Guided by this constitutional imperative, Namibia continues to strengthen its integrated social protection system through the implementation of social protection policy, the national gender equality and equity policy, and the national agenda for children. We are also undertaking comprehensive reform to modernize our social protection architecture, strengthen institutional coordination, expand contributory mechanism through the National Pension Fund, National Medical Benefit Fund, Unemployment Insurance Fund, and build systems that are efficient, sustainable, and responsive to the emerging risk. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the challenge before us transcend national boundaries. They require strengthened continental cooperation, effective multilateral partnership, sustainable financing, and the collective resolve of government, workers, and employer, as well as developmental partners and civil society. By working together through the institutions of the African Union, we can accelerate the implementations of Agenda 2063 and build a resilient society that upholds human dignity and expand opportunity for all Africans. History will, record our contribution to the development of Africa, and therefore we must bring our best self to this calling. Let this session reaffirm our shared determination to place people at the center of development, to invest in inclusive and resilient social protection, to protect the right of women, children, and older persons, and persons with disability, to create decent work for our young people, and to ensure that every African enjoy the right to development. As the host nation, Namibia looks forward to outcomes that strengthen implementations across member states, deepen regional integration through our regional economic community, and advance aspiration of Agenda 2063 and the sustainable growth developmental goals in general. It is therefore now my singular honor to declare the 60th ordinary sessions of the African Union Specialized Technical Committee on Social Development, Labor and Employment officially open. I thank you. That was the speech of the President. Thank you so much, Director, for your kindness.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your own personal reflection that you gave us and the keynote address on behalf of Her Excellency the President. Please give the Minister another round of applause. We are moving towards the end of our program. Before the vote of thanks, Sabelo asked me to invite the AU Commission to make a presentation. Sabelo is being unorthodox. So I don't know what the presentation will be about. So please, my brother, take the podium.
Yes. Thank you, thank you. My Program Director, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, the African Union would like to make a presentation, and to help do this, would like to request Excellency the Commissioner to officiate. Your Excellency. The African Union will like to present a gift to the head of state and to thank her for all the leadership and for inviting us to be here, and would like to invite the Honorable Minister to receive on behalf of the head of state. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, we are so appreciative of all that the government and people of Namibia have done. I mean, look at this room. This is the third day, right? And the room is so full. It's an indication of how comfortable they are to be in Namibia. And we are grateful for the behind-the-scenes work that Her Excellency the President has done, her passion when it comes to social development. And to show that in appreciation, we are giving this token. Yes. Let me do it properly. Sabelo, come. Okay. I think it's like this.
We hold it like this.
I wanted to. Bring it.
There you go.
So, on behalf of the Chairperson and the African Union Commission, this is the token of our appreciation to Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia. Okay. Okay, you can take a picture. You want to take a picture?
I also get a chance to hold it. Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner, for handing over the present. It was a surprise, but it's a pleasant surprise. So we are moving towards the end of our program, and I invite to the podium the Honorable Deputy Minister of Justice and Labor Relations, Tricia Brand, to come and give the vote of thanks. Honorable Minister, please. She's wearing one of our traditional outfits, so it's very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, good afternoon. Yes, this is indeed one of the traditional way in Namibia, the Tamara tradition. And it's the outfit. Yeah. You were welcomed, and so I have to thank you. My task is simple. It's just to thank you. Director of the program, Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the President of Republic of Namibia in her absentia, the deputy ministers and the deputy ministers present from different countries. Let me stand on the protocol already established. And allow me on behalf of the host country, our beloved Namibia, the land of the brave, to extend sincere appreciation to the rich, forward-looking and deep, substantive statements delivered during this official opening session. Your contributions reaffirm our collective commitment to strengthen labor governance and expanding social protection system across the continent. An agency that was equally reflected in the rigorous, candid deliberations of our experts over the past 3 days. We extend our gratitude to the African Union Commission Secretariat for their excellent coordination and technical support, to our development cooperation partners for their steadfast support, and to all member states for their active participation. Our appreciation also goes to the organizing committees, the protocol officers, interpreters, the technical teams whose dedication has ensured the dignified and seamless official opening. A special word of thanks goes to the National Preparatory Committee, whose tireless coordination has made this gathering possible, and to our media team, who ensured the live streaming of this official opening so that our work reaches audience across the continent. Honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this opening session, allow me to inform you that Honorable, my boss, the Minister of Justice and Labor Relations, Honorable Wise Emmanuel, will host a dinner this evening. Personalized official invitation cards will be given to each minister, to the heads of delegation, and to our speakers who joined us this morning. This dinner will be served as an official welcome to Namibia, and we trust it will offer a warm and welcoming evening ahead for tomorrow's engagements. Distinguished delegates, the vote of thanks delivered now marks the conclusion of the official opening session only. The meeting will continue with the program of the ministerial segment, starting with the high-level segment, followed by the deliberations of the ministerial meetings, in the afternoon. Let us proceed with renewed energy and unity of purpose, guided by our continental aspiration to build an inclusive, resilient, and people-centered Africa, and inspired by our theme on strengthening and expanding social protection system across the continent. And I hope you are still going to enjoy your stay in Namibia. And allow me, the Director of Proceedings, to end here. I thank you.
Yeah, we thank the Minister for delivering the vote of thanks. And that marks the end of our official opening session. What is following next is a family photo. We are all family. However, because of space restrictions, we will take the family photo in this manner. All members of the head table, all ministers and deputy ministers, and all heads of delegations. I invite you to the family photo through these doors outside on the grass park. So it's the head table, ministers and deputy ministers, and leaders of delegations. They are representing you fully. After the group photo is done, we will then have our tea break. So please grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let us be back here at 1:15 sharp. 1:15. And all delegations must be seated for purposes of quorum, please. Because if we are not all here and we don't have quorum, we will not be able to start. So on behalf of my co-director of the program, we thank you for bearing with us. Where we erred, please forgive us. But we trust that everything. I will not get into the nitty-gritties of that. Welcome to the Legal Counsel. We are streaming live, I think, up to a point where they hand over instruments, then we will invite the media to leave. So please, if you may come up to that point, and then we can ask media to leave. Welcome him with a round of applause, please. There's a very important job to do.
Thank you very much. Excellencies and distinguished delegates. My role is quite very simple. First is to confirm whether we have the required numbers of excellencies and distinguished delegates to actually begin this meeting. And maybe first is to indicate that this is a closed session. Excellencies can decide, as you've indicated, if you were to invite media up to a particular extent. But that is really your prerogative. For a closed session, it should be closed, not having media or even partners in the meeting. So, Excellencies, I want to confirm that we have the required number of ministers or delegated individuals to be in this meeting, which is as per Rule 8 of our STC Rules of Procedure, is a 2/3 majority of those that are eligible to vote. And Excellencies, we have 55 member states, with having 7 member states that are under sanctions, which means they cannot be able to vote. Therefore, the numerical number is 48. And the 2/3 of 48 is 32 that are supposed to be able to vote. As is required and mandated by our office, and for transparency, I will read the member states that are in attendance and therefore declare the quorum having been achieved. I will start with Chad. So this meeting is hybrid. We have those that are virtually in attendance, and we have those that are physically present. So the first, we have Chad, we have DRC, we have Eswatini, we have Kenya, Lesotho, Namibia, Sierra Leone, Togo, Cameroon, Malawi, South Africa, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Egypt, Guinea, Morocco, Seychelles, South Sudan, Burundi, Mozambique, the Gambia, Zambia, Algeria, Botswana, Liberia, Ghana, Libya, Angola, the Sahrawi Republic, and Tunisia. Is there any member state that has been left out? Uganda. We have Uganda. Any other member state? Your Excellencies, I do therefore have this distinct honor to indicate that we have the required quorum to have this ministerial session. Thank you very much. Having stated that, the next order of business is the endorsement of the STC DLE 6 Bureau members. Your Excellencies, during the expert meeting, there was an election of the Bureau members. And the Bureau members, therefore, before that, there was a note verbal that had been sent out requesting for the regions to actually nominate individuals that would sit in as the bureau members for the incoming STC. And I want to indicate here that the southern region therefore settled or proposed that we have Zambia lead or rather chair this STC. The first vice chairperson was to go to the northern region. After consultation, the northern region did not reach consensus to have a representative, and therefore it remains open up to until when it shall be filled up. The second vice chairperson on the employer side goes to Western Africa, and we have Senegal. The third vice chairperson goes to the workers in the Eastern Africa, and we had South Sudan nominated for that. Lastly, for the rapporteur, we have the government going to the Central Africa region, and Chad was therefore nominated for that. Excellencies, the Bureau member representation is usually guided by the geographical rotational representation basis or principle. And therefore, because the Central African region was the chair, it becomes the rapporteur, and in that order. What is required as per law is that this meeting is chaired by the chairperson, of course, Zambia. However, we do not have Zambia with us, the minister from Zambia with us. What happened is that there is a note verbal that was sent from Capitol, which indicated that Zambia is settling to have Namibia be the ad hoc chairperson addressing the probably I have misled the House. So we should also have the gavel, the symbolic instruments of power. The protocol? Okay, good. So maybe, Zambia, if you could confirm what I've said in terms of the note verbal before we hand over the instruments of power.
Thank you so much, Legal Counsel. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, honorable ministers, and distinguished delegates. Yes, indeed, the Legal Counsel has not misled the House. We reached out to our good neighbors so that the honorable minister could stand in our stead. Like he said this morning, I'm too small for the heavy lifting, and it would be an insult to the honorable ministers for me to chair this high-level meeting. So that arrangement was done well in advance, and I accordingly wish to state that the position that has been espoused by the Legal Counsel is the correct position. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So it shows that we are in order. So, Your Excellencies, what will happen is that I will take the gavel. So that is a symbol of the instruments of power changing hands. Thank you very much. Now you.
We have graciously accepted the trust vested upon us by our sister republic, Zambia. For those of you that are students of all times, you would recall, very well that Zambia hosted us, during the darkest times or period of during the darkest times of our university work, when they are training. And when their request came, we were duty bound to accept and stand in for that. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, as is custom, the outgoing chair, if he has a remark. Maybe I will wait for the language. If the outgoing chair has any remarks, can give, and then the incoming ad hoc chair can open the meeting, and then we start. Let me repeat for the, I think he's got it.
Ok, merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Merci, honorable ministre.
Thank you, honorable ministers,
Chers experts.
Dear experts.
Voilà 2 ans après.
2 years after taking the leadership of this specialized technical committee,
Développement social, travail et emploi.
SDLE,
L'un des comités techniques le plus important de l'Union africaine.
one of the most important technical committees of the African Union,
L'emploi et le développement social.
because as you know, work, labor, and social development is at the center of what we are expecting from the human capital. This is at the center of the work that we do. And 2 years later, we can say that you have been with us. We have reflected together. We have taken great decisions, important decisions that have advanced the African Union. And I would like to thank you for that. I would also like to thank my colleague from Namibia who has just taken the baton. And I wish him great success into the future. Once again, thank you very much.
Once again, thank you very much for your kind attentiveness, and thank you to the outgoing chair. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of Zambia and all of us to thank the outgoing chair for the wonderful work that he has done, all the sacrifices that he has made, and all commitment that he has rendered, and all investment that he has made be it in terms of his physical energy or in terms of his time and in terms of his intellectual resources in assisting, the STC up to this very hour. We thank you. Please let's give him a big round of applause. Now, as an interim chair, we are then getting into the business of the day. Not that what we dealt with earlier, it's out of that scope, but we are getting into the deliberative session of the program. We have a draft agenda in front of us, a 9-item agenda, where the first